Welcome to the Better Together podcast. I'm your host, Kiki King, and today we're here with Susan Onishi Andrade, partner at Locations Hawaii. So Susan, you've been in the industry for over 30 years,
yes.
right? And I've known you for at least 10 years now.
A while, yes.
Yeah. And the reason that we have you here today is because you run a business, from the over 10 years that I've known you, you run a business that is no nonsense, but professional and ethical at the same time. And I really admire the way you do business. So, let's get right into it. So I'm not sure if everyone knows this, but you're actually a second generation realtor, right?
Yes. I started with my mother's real estate company back in the 80s.
Wow.
Yes. And right after that, it was a small company. And I knew that in order to succeed in my business that I needed to come to belong to a larger company.
Yeah. Yeah. So with your mother starting off in real estate, how did that shape your views on real estate as well as help you to create the career that you have today?
So she taught me that you need to put, everything into your business and be committed. And
that's a good lesson.
Right. And to make sure that when you're dealing with clients, that it's not where you're thinking about making money, right? But it's more about helping them and guiding them to make right decisions.
Right. And so your mom, she sold real estate as well as managed rental properties. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes. And that's kind of where I started. It was actually, I started out as helping in the rental side department. And then in order to manage the rentals, I needed to be licensed. So I went out and I got my real estate license, and I handled one real estate transaction, and I was hooked.
Wow.
I love
Wow.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is awesome. Isn't it amazing how the experiences in our life just kind of all work together to make us into who we are today?
Oh, it does. It does. I learned through just the rental side of it, and working, with escrow and the loan officers, because coming from a smaller real estate company, I kind of had to manage everything on my own.
That can be so difficult.
It is. It really is. So the most valuable thing I learned from my mother was, she said, you will make a good living helping your clients with their real estate needs. You will become financially wealthy and secure if you invest for yourself. And that's what I did. As much as it was difficult, especially my first transaction, and it wasn't the ideal property. It wasn't everything that I wanted, but I took her advice. I invested in a really small townhouse, and it really proved to, just pay off, because several years later, I was able to sell it, do a 1031 exchange, and to upgrade.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow, so you really started off your career on solid ground.
I did. Yeah, and I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah.
Because throughout the years, I've bought and sold quite a bit of real estate. And it's really helped me, even to, talk with my clients and work with my clients, because, I realize that they look to you for your guidance. And the only way that I could actually help them to calm their nerves and, to help them feel comfortable is to share with them my experience as a first-time home buyer, right? The first time I purchased, the first time I sold, and how nervous it was to upgrade.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. With over 30 years of experience, I'm sure you've seen so many things.
I have, and through the different markets, there's been a few, changing markets that I've experienced, and I'm thankful for all of them. Because I'm able to find the perfect balance.
Yeah.
You know, working with my clients. There's, some people think, especially in this changing market, some agents, they're very nervous.
Yes.
Right? They're saying it's a downturn market, and it really is not. It's balancing out. It's a changing market. It's shifting. But it becomes, to me, ideal for sellers and buyers.
Right.
Because we're still, the prices are still, at an all-time high. And, and so even to be able to work with sellers to let them know that this is a great time to sell. It is. Yeah. With the increase of interest rates, we don't know where the market is going, but if they were just, contemplating, about selling, that now would be an ideal time, right? And it's the same thing for buyers.
Yeah.
The interest rates continue to increase, right? We don't know what the market is going to do, but we do know that the market is settling down a little bit. There's going to be a lot more inventory coming on, and so they'll just have a wider selection to choose from.
Right.
Yeah. So this market is just
for buyers.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm really excited throughout the different, changes in the market. It's an ideal time. It's great for sellers and buyers.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I want to dive into the hot topic of the moment right now, which is, no, it's not your arms. Susan really is goals. She really is arm goals. # Susan Onishi fan club. But the hot topic right now is the R word. It's the recession, right? The changing market, as you were saying. The market is transitioning. And as you said, you mentioned that you're really excited about where the market is right now. And what I've been hearing out there as I speak to agents is this huge dichotomy of opinions. There is actually the latest generation, the newest generation of realtors to the industry. When I speak with them, they're a little nervous, just like you said. They are experiencing this shift in the market. They're not really sure how to handle it. They're trying the best that they can with the experience that they've had, but they've never seen this downturn in the market. And then on the other hand, when I speak with seasoned agents like yourself, you see a completely different reaction. A lot of them their face lights up when you talk about the shifting market, and they are excited that we're here again, because this is the market that a lot of them say, this is the market that I excel in. This is the market that I do well in. So especially as a seasoned agent, what advice would you give to majority of the agents in the marketplace today who have never experienced this shift?
My best years has been in a shifting market.
Right.
It really has.
Right.
And that's why I get excited. There's so many reasons why, the agents who actually do it part-time, who do it as a hobby, they get into it just to dabble.
Yes.
That's not going to be existent.
Right. The landscape of the agent population changes.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's really the committed agents in the business that's really going to do well.
That's so true.
Right?
That's so true.
Because they say, 20% of the realtors do 80% of the business.
That is so true, So what is the 20% doing that the 80% are not?
They're versatile and they're adaptable. They are.
That's good.
They learn to just, to work with what they have and just to continue to be positive, right? What can you do now that the market has settled? Yeah. What are we able to do that we couldn't, when the market was moving so quickly, when you were constantly showing properties to buyers, writing multiple offers, right, and not getting accepted. And so there's so many things. We can start a farm.
Right.
We can become experts in the different neighborhoods.
Right. That's a great opportunity.
Yeah. I established a farm area in my neighborhood, where I published in the newsletters that came out every month, and and I sent my own mailers. And when I introduced myself, right, I'd say, hi neighbor. And when they see you,
the
over
credibility,
and over,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. It builds trust,
Yes.
which really helps.
And that sounds like in this shifting market, one of the opportunities that agents have is to reevaluate their marketing strategy and to really double down into strategies that pay off over the long run, like farming. Yeah?
Yes, yes. And it's really the time now to be committed, because it's very easy to delve into, a market especially when it's moving very quickly. Right.
Absolutely. And like you said about the attitude and the mindset, being committed to your business, now is the time to be committed to your business, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now is definitely the time to be committed to your business, because in a shifting market, when things are not moving as quickly, if you're not committed to your business, like you said, a lot of those part-time agents are going to start exiting the industry to find other careers. But if you really believe in real estate as a career and you choose to double down, you choose to commit to your business, then there's a lot of benefit on the flip side after you choose to invest in yourself, right?
Correct. And you need to believe in yourself and in your product.
Right.
Because if you're just selling it without believing that real estate is the best investment that you could possibly make, if you don't believe that, then your clients are not going to believe
it. Right. Yeah, your belief and like everything that you think, everything you really are convicted of, it comes out in the vibe, in not so much the words that you say, but like the energy that you give out, right?
Yes, exactly.
That's very true. And especially for a lot of agents who are uncertain in this environment, they're kind of giving out this uncertainty energy, how would you recommend that they shift that into a stronger, more confident energy?
Well, number one is not to think about other options as far as, getting a second job or part-time or, again, it's commitment. It's 110% commitment. We are handling the largest asset, of anyone's life, right? It's the biggest asset. We need to be committed. We need to realize that, our fiduciary responsibility, to our clients. And you can only do that by taking it seriously.
Right, that's so true. And I think also it helps when you surround yourself with other realtors who are just as serious about their business.
Exactly, yes. To surround yourself and to be engaged with very positive, excited agents, realtors, right? That you can feed off their energy.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
It does.
Right?
Really does.
I'm sure it made a difference for you coming from a small company into a company like Locations, that you're surrounded by agents who do this full time.
Yes. And I learned a lot, from the partners and from the agents that just had, long tenure in the industry.
Yeah.
And just to help me to, navigate through the changing markets. Right. I could tap into all of their knowledge.
Yes.
And it was easy to ask. They just make it, very warm and welcoming, with open arms, come talk to us.
That is one of the, that totally is one of the things I love about Locations, is that the partners and experienced agents, they are so willing to help anyone who's in the office, anyone who comes and asks for advice. I'm sure as a partner yourself, you've had a lot of people approach you like, hey Susan, what do I do? I'm stuck right now.
Yes. And just from learning from, when I first came into the Locations, that everyone was just easily accessible, the information. And so from there, just learn to just give back and help the newer agents.
Right. You can tell when they're unsure. Yeah.
Especially coming into a larger company, sometimes you're nervous and you tend to stay with the smaller crowd or the small, right? And whereas, to open yourself up, to be willing and open to ask questions. Right. And so it's
so important.
It is. Yeah. It really is. And the knowledge that you gain, it's just, it's invaluable.
Yes.
It's invaluable.
Yes. And that leads me to, I know for you, you've always been a lifelong learner, right? So how does that play in to your advice for an agent?
It's very important to continue to just be open and willing to learn. Right? Everything that you can, no matter how elementary it may seem. Right? And to attend classes, to just, there's a lot of resources that locations offer.
Right. From the greenie classes to mastery classes.
Yes. And the technology, it makes it so easy.
It does, right?
Yes,
but
yes.
I'm sure, even being in the business for over 30 years, I'm sure technology changes, the classes that are offered changes, There's some fundamentals, but you have to constantly learn along the way, right?
Yes, you do. And just by the more questions you ask, you learn a lot. And you can implement it into your business.
Yes. Yes. And sometimes the advice that I hear from our seasoned agents and our partners, it's so simple, but it's so profound,
It is.
Yeah.
I think especially when you're new in the business, there's so much to learn.
There
right?
is. You can get overwhelmed, right?
Exactly. It becomes overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But, like anything else in life, you need to implement like a routine.
Yes.
A daily routine. And what I learned for myself is that, number one, I have a goal board.
Oh, good.
Yes. And I've had it for many years. And it's a big goal board that when I wake up, I see it. Throughout the day, I see it.
That's awesome.
Right? And even at night, before I go to sleep, I write down, it's a to-do list. What I'm going to accomplish tomorrow, right? And I find it's very different when you actually put it in writing.
So true, right? That is one of the things, I've always been interested in the daily habits of successful people. And that is definitely something that a lot of successful people have in common, is that they plan their day the night before. So I think that's really interesting how you do your to-do list every night for what you're going to do the next day, because they do say statistically that your chances of succeeding are much higher if you write down your intentions, right?
Correct. Yes. And then it actually becomes organized, right?
So
and
true.
you can refer back to it throughout the day, and it is a commitment. It's more of a commitment when it's in writing versus if it's just something you think about, like, okay, tomorrow I plan to do this.
Yes. It can easily just go in one ear, out the other, and then you forget the intentions that you made.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is so true. And organization is one of the top things that I hear realtors say they need help with the most.
It is. And then the balance.
Yeah,
Right.
because realtors lead such a hectic life, and it's unpredictable, which is exciting, but it's also a little chaotic, right?
Yes. And I think that's where, that will come, especially when you first get into the business, when you first start, where you start to, when you learn how to organize your personal life and your work and just your family, right? which
Yeah,
is very
you have
important.
to prioritize.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
you really do. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's easy to, for the scales to just be tipped, right, with work. And, that's one of the things I do love is that Locations has coaching. Coaching I feel is so important to help you see your blind spots,
Yes. And I didn't realize how important that was until I came to Locations.
Wow.
Right? Because I could just tap into even my coach, and oftentimes it's it's information or things about yourself that you don't realize or recognize
right
until you hear it from someone else, right? That that is really trying to help you, succeed in the business, right? Yes.
So true.
When you have someone who's helping you, guiding you, looking from the outside in.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Then it helps you to see yourself in a true light. Right. Because a lot of times we need help with that.
So true.
Right. And we don't even realize that maybe we're getting a little off track. And that's where your coach will really come into play, and they'll say, I noticed that you haven't really been spending, a lot of time in the office. Right.
Right. Because life gets busy.
It does.
Right?
It does.
It really does.
Yeah.
And so I find that really refreshing that even from an agent with decades of experience, that coaching is still important to you.
Even more important, I think. Because it's so easy, I find, for myself, to just think like, okay, I've been in business for a long time.
Yes.
I know everything there is to know about real estate, right? And the classes and the experience that comes from just learning, right? That, especially through the changing markets, that's where being versatile and adaptable is very important, right? And oftentimes I think for me, I find that I can get stuck in a rut.
Yes. So many people do. And then a lot of times, in speaking with agents, I find that agents will find themselves, and this is just for human beings in general, right? We find ourselves in a rut and then we don't know how to get out of it.
Yes. And it's the coach. I found that, my coach would come to me and say, Susan, I noticed that, right? And then it helps me. And then, I can sit with them and to get back on track. Okay, what are you doing, or what aren't you doing?
Right. Sometimes that's more important than what are you doing, right?
Right. And my coach once, when I was wondering, okay, why is my business slowing down, right? What am I doing wrong, or right? And my coach asked me, are you waiting for your phone to ring? And I thought,
Wow.
Right? Yes. So I needed to start to make calls. I needed to reach out. I needed to connect.
Wow.
Because I got so comfortable with my clients calling me, right? And, and not having to prospect, not having to get back to basics.
Right, which is important, I think, especially in this transitioning market. You spoke about farming,
Yes.
right? But getting back to basics of prospecting is so important, right? In this time, are there any other activities, business activities, or prospecting activities that you would recommend that an agent revisit or strengthen as they rebuild their business in this new market?
Oh, I would say that there's just so many, different facets. There's, in real estate, you have, the first-time home buyers. You have the senior market, right? That's become, just, an integral part of our business, right? And the military.
Right.
Families that are relocating. So to become skilled, to become an expert,
Yes.
you know, in the different fields is very important,
So true.
right?
So true.
Yes.
You know, that makes me think about earlier in our conversation, you mentioned that during a transitioning market, as the market slows down from the fast-paced craziness that we had for the past couple of years, now's the time for us to stop and think about what are the things that we can do in this market. And in speaking about becoming an expert in certain fields, now is the time to really, like you said, learn about it, you know, get your scripts down. How do you talk to these people? You know, focus on your mindset, right? Make sure you're giving out the right energy.
Right, exactly. And that's so important. You know, again, to be versatile and adaptable. You know, because sellers right now, they're in, you know, we see so much more. We experience so much more than our clients do, right?
Yes.
So when we share it with them, it's the first time hearing it.
For them, right?
For them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so how do we work with a client now, right, in the changing market? Sellers.
Yes.
You know, for example, you know, before we would actually list a property, you know, at whatever price.
Right.
And we'd get multiple offers, right? It would get into a bidding war and the sellers would get much more than what they were asking.
Right.
Right?
That's a different expectation altogether, right?
It is. And so, you know, it's really our duty, you know, to educate them, right? And how do we do that? Well, we need to be educated ourselves, right? By learning, you know, how to talk with the sellers, or the dialogue to have with them, to be willing to have the more difficult conversations.
Yes.
Right? Very candid, saying, you know, the market is not the way it was. You know, it's still a great time to sell, and still be excited. Right, and encouraging that it is. It's a great time to, you know, to get into the market as a seller, but you have to learn what to say.
Right, right, and that's where I think, you know, seasoned agents and mentors, partners, you know, that's where I think those resources are invaluable.
It is, especially since, I mean, if you've only been in the market for a short period of time, and you've been, you know, a buyer's agent.
Yes.
Right? Or, you know, you've represented just several sellers who it's been very easy, right? Now it's the time to really learn and to get your, you know, to learn how to engage with your clients. And what makes it a good time to sell?
Right. This is where your skill set really sets you apart.
Yes. And you can only learn it by going through it.
True. Or getting mentored from an experienced agent who can help you to know what to say or how to say it or what to expect, right?
Oh, yes. Yes. And, you know, again, just the tools that Locations has, you know, with the coaching and, you know, the partnership, it makes it very easy.
Yes.
Very easy.
Yeah. For anybody who wants it, it's available.
Right. Yes. And even as buyers, you know, the buyer's expectations is going to be very different now. You know, they're experiencing the shift in the market, and a lot of them would just actually wait.
Yes, I've heard that from so many agents about, you know, I have buyers, but they're on the fence and I can't get them off. Right? What do you say to that?
Oh gosh, it is a great time to get into the market.
But you have to be convicted about that, right?
That's right. You know, and why is it?
Yes.
You know, why is it a great time to buy? You know, there's so many reasons. You know, I can't even think of one client that I helped to purchase real estate, you know, 7 years ago who regrets buying.
Right.
They don't.
Right.
You know, it is, you know, it's the best investment that you can make, right? And even for buyers, you know, I learned, because a lot of times their objection is, well, I'm going to be buying or purchasing at the height of the market, right? If I wait, then the prices will settle down even more. I'll get a better price,
Right.
But at the same time, we don't know what the interest rates will continue to do.
That's true. No one has a crystal ball.
Right. And it's the higher interest rates that make the biggest impact on your affordability.
So true.
Right? And for me, especially when it's a homeowner, I explain to them that it's a home you're going to live in.
Right.
Right? If you purchase or if you buy real estate, now, and in 2 or 3 years the market increases, by 100,000, are you going to sell? No. So if the market settles down, right? If the prices settle down, it really doesn't matter because it's a home.
Right.
Yes.
Right. That is so true. That is so true. Okay, so this has been really great conversation, Susan. Thank you so much. So let me just recap for our viewers for a second of some of the things that we've talked about. So number one, in this shifting market, we want to commit to our business. That seems to be a common theme that you talked about, is being serious about what we're doing and going into the shifting market with commitment. That's number one. Number two is to not stop learning, because no matter how many years you've been in the business, there's always something new you can learn. Number three that you talked about was having that written to-do list every night and making sure that your schedule is on point so that we're organized and ready to take on the day, right? And then number four, one of the things that you talked about was looking for the positives in the shifting market, having the right attitude and making sure that we're going out to greet our clients with the right energy, with a positive energy, confident energy. So as we wrap things up, Susan, what is your final piece of advice that you would give to our agents who have never experienced this sort of shift in the market before? What would you say to them?
There's so many things. There's so many things that you can do now that you couldn't do in a fast-paced market. Right? There's building your brand.
Yes.
Right? Getting your name out there.
Yes.
It's connecting with your sphere.
Yes.
And cultivating relationships.
Oh, relationships are so important.
It is. I think that's the key to successful real estate business.
Yes.
Is the relationships that you have.
Yeah, and now's the time to build them, right? To really strengthen them.
It is. And to be able to just to do the things that you couldn't do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I find that that locations has helped me in the different shifting markets to be able to thrive and to be able to market my listings differently.
Right.
Yeah. Locations gives me the peace of mind that I would be able to just work with the client, and the sellers will have the confidence knowing that they'll have the maximum amount of exposure with locations.
Yes, which is so true. Our marketing department works so hard to get everything together for our agents. As soon as agents get a listing, they put together this incredible listing package, with postcards. I'm sure you've had them sent out too.
Yeah.
Postcards, flyers. They do all of the graphics, the email blasts for our agents to announce and to market your listings to as many people as possible, including like pushing out our open houses, right, over many different websites so that as many eyeballs will see it as possible, and even to promoting our agents' listings on the news, on TV spots. That has been really popular with our clients, is seeing their property on the news.
Exactly. And I don't know what's involved behind the scenes. I don't. But locations makes it so easy, because as soon as I submit a listing, there's a whole checklist, a form that comes out to me, and I just,
check what you want. Social media, check. TV ad, check, right? Exactly. Flyers, postcards, everything that you need, right?
Yes.
And our marketing department is so amazing.
Yeah, and it's a no-brainer for me.
Yes.
You know, it actually allows me and enables me to focus more time, you know, with my clients than worrying about, you know, how to.
Right.
Yes.
We really appreciate you sharing your knowledge, your wisdom from over 30 years of experience in real estate. My name is Kiki King. Thanks for tuning in. Keep watching for future episodes where we talk with more successful agents here at Locations about how they've built their business.